We are back at the treehouse. We'll be here for the weekend, working on a few small projects. There are still a few things that are left on the exterior. I'll go through a couple of those in this video, but we may not finish them because this weekend looks like there'll be scattered storms. So we actually think we might, for the first time, get started on the interior finishing. So that'll be exciting. I'll go through the interior for the first time. So let's take a look. When we first built the platform for the treehouse a year ago, we decided to put this small section of the deck off to the right of the ladder so that there would be an area on each side. I was thinking that it might make climbing the ladder feel a little safer if there was a place to stand, or there was a little bit of the deck on each side of the ladder. We briefly considered using that small platform as a space to stand if we added a fireman's pole. However, considering we're planning to use this as a short-term rental, it just seemed like it might be a little overboard for the liability, so we've changed our mind on that. But we have noticed that it's a useful space to set something down. If you are carrying something, then you can turn around to face the ladder as you're climbing down and grab that object. We now have an idea what to use that for, and it's easier to explain looking up from the top. Now that we have added the bar top to the deck, we are hoping to create an easy way to bring supplies to enjoy at the bar top up onto the deck without trying to climb the ladder one-handed or less than one-handed. So our plan is to use this extra little platform off to the side and create some kind of winch / pulley system and have a little basket or box down over the edge, and you can put your items in there and crank the basket up to the top, set it on this platform, and take the stuff out. So that would be one thing we're going to work on. And the other remaining exterior item is to finish up this space here between the joists. We need to add blocking to essentially separate the exterior and interior. These are all sort of awkward cuts, so it will be a bit of a chore to get those installed. And then we need to finish some flashing over the edge of the siding where the hole in the roof is. So those are the small things, but in the next week or so, we'll take care of those. For everyone who's been patiently waiting, here's the reveal of the inside. So a little bit of the details about what's going on in the interior. These windows that are fixed were salvaged windows. These were actually just the sash from windows that were removed from someone's house, and I picked them up, refinished them, restored them. And there are 2 casement windows on this side. They are also salvaged, as are the fixed window on the right here and the casement window on the left. So the design of parts of this interior were dictated by the dimensions of the windows, because we started with the windows and to a certain extent built the floor plan around how we could arrange these windows into this full length wall of windows. So the ceiling height here is about 10 feet, and it slopes to about 7 feet on the other side. And this is where it comes together at a point. The reason it comes together at a point is to allow us to keep this tree intact. I talked about this in the first video, but we decided to keep this tree And this way the tree exits the roof on the exterior of the tree house rather than the interior. But it does mean that the interior has this angled wall. And it's to be determined what the end use of this space will be. It will definitely be a space for our kids to play, so there's room for that. The shape wouldn't really have too much of an impact. We also are assuming at some point we might convert this into something like a remote office or just put a reading chair in here. So it is not a big space, but it should be big enough to enjoy for things like that. This is the material that we will be using for the floor inside. I thought I would give a good view of it outside where the light's a little better. This is a material called thermally modified wood. This is actually oak, and it's produced by a company called Arborwood. It's nearby in Duluth, Minnesota, so it's nice that it's a local company. And the interesting thing about this is when they heat this using a thermally modified, their thermally modified process, it changes the structure of the wood so that it's not susceptible to moisture. So we chose this because it's a treehouse, and the floor may get exposed to water and other things more than a typical interior. So hopefully this is something that will be durable and we will not have any problems, even if it gets a little wet or exposed to the elements. So we are going to get started on the underlayment, and we'll start installing the wood. Underlayment is a piece of peel and stick roofing underlayment that is left over from the treehouse roof. We used a crown molding stapler with a flooring attachment to position it at the correct angle. It seemed to work fine. It just wasn't worth the time to get a full-size flooring stapler for such a small space. It's only about 70 square feet. I started the nailing for the first few rows, and then the full family was there. We worked together. My kids actually took all of the measurements, and I would make the cuts, and then they would work together to position the piece, tap it tight, and then staple it in place. Well, we're done for the weekend. It was definitely nice to be able to work a little bit inside. It did rain off and on for the last couple of days. And I'll show you the flooring. It has turned out really well. Here's our finished floor. It is thermally modified oak. It's standard tongue and groove profile from Arborwood. I think it's going to work out really well. This will be the last time the floor is clean. We'll have to put our tools and stuff back in here while we're working, but I cleared it out so we could take a nice video. I think we will eventually put on a finish, clear coat finish, but that will be at the end once the walls are done. The walls will be cedar. I have some tongue and groove that is cedar shiplap exposed above the rafters. So the rest will be hopefully finished in the next month or two, and it should look really nice.